Hi Chelsea fans, Chels Daft here, back with a video after a couple of days break, and it's the final part of my mini-series while we're waiting for the Premier League to come back. We've focused on looking at the goalkeeper and defenders, how they've performed so far this season. We've looked at midfielders in the last video. Today is the forwards, as listed on the official Chelsea website, and we're looking at Tammy Abraham, Christian Pulisic, Timo Werner, Olivier Giroud, Callum HudsonOdoi. So, without further ado, let's get cracking. So, let's start with Tammy Abraham. And Tammy has had probably a slowish start to the season. And let's not forget that end of last season, when Project Restart happened and the Premier League was back, Olivier Giroud was predominantly the main striker, and he did fantastic. Tammy found himself on the bench more often than not, got involved in games, maybe started the odd couple, but it was mainly Olivier Giroud, and that was quite a surprise. So this season, you get to the summer and Timo Werner's come in, and Tammy has found himself playing second fiddle again to Timo Werner. Yes, there's been times when Tammy started games, there's times where he hasn't started, and you have to look at his overall contribution. And for me, I think it's important to remember about Tammy is that he's someone that is still young, he's still finding his feet in the Premier League. He's done fantastically well last year, without question, but he just needs to sort of find his feet. He needs to bulk up a bit, he needs to hold the ball up better, he needs to be better in the air for me. He's a massive player, he's very tall, and he needs to do more of his height. He needs to have much more of an influence. He's improving, which is good. He's still scoring goals, which is what's important, is all that matters. He's scored important goals in recent weeks. So overall, for Tammy, for his involvement in the team and his involvement in games, good important goals. Needs to do a little bit more for me with holding the ball up and the play that's away from goal and areas where he's got his back to goal. He just needs to be a bit stronger, but that will develop. That will get stronger. So for me, Tammy Abraham is a 7 out of 10. So to Christian Pulisic, and what a season he's had with injuries so far. He's battled back from fitness, having suffered his hamstring injury in the FA Cup final, only to then suffer with another blow, another hamstring again. And it's just something that's sort of hampering him at the moment. He hasn't been involved. He's maybe been involved for a game and a half, if that. So you can't really give him much of a score. So I mean, at the moment we have to judge it based on performances so far, and the little performance that he's given so far, I mean, you're gonna have to give him a 5. Next up in the video today is Turbo Timo Werner, and someone that I have to be honest, I was a little bit worried first couple of games when he wasn't scoring. He made a scoring start to his Chelsea career in the pre-season friendly away to Coventry. He then had a couple of games where he was played out of position to accommodate injuries, but he hadn't scored for a couple of games, and it was beginning to become a little bit of a concern, because you want your forwards to score straight away in the Premier League. You know, you want them to get on the score sheet, to feel comfortable. The goals eventually come, and they've come, and the goals have been fantastic. Timo Werner looks as though he's really settled down into life at Chelsea, and he's really enjoying his football. He's scoring goals for fun. We just need to make sure that we get the best out of Timo Werner, and we've already shown in glimpses the best way to do it. Against Southampton, the 2 goals he created from literally from nothing. One of them was a ball played into him in the channel between the fullback and the centre-back, which he spun and turned, and he was off using his pace, and then which turned into the goal of the month on the Chelsea website. He moved his way across the back 4 on the edge of the box and put it back bottom corner. Second was a long ball over the top from Jorginho, as you know, which he then looped over the goalkeeper and headed it in. And then you just look at his other goals that he's scoring, and the most recent, obviously the goals that he got at Burnley, great link up with Hakim Ziyech, but of course the goal that he scored at home, Sheffield United, just literally opportunistic, on the shoulder, waiting to be played in, back pass that went wrong, Werner's in, one touch, goal. The guy is lethal. The guy will take the Premier League by storm, and he'll score goals for fun. We just have to make sure that we put him in a position where he needs to be, on the shoulder of the defender, in between defenders, and get those balls played in the channels, over the top or into him, because he'll be lightning quick and they won't catch him. He's got fantastic ability. He's already shown that. He's young. He's hungry. He wants to score goals. You've got to give him a 9, Timo Werner. He's done everything that's been asked of him, and he's scoring goals. Plenty of goals. So it's a 9 from me. So to the last two that are interesting players. And the first is Olivier Giroud, who's had little involvement so far this season based on how he finished last season, which obviously is what I discussed earlier. He was instrumental in Chelsea obtaining the top 4 place. He did fantastically well, led the line brilliantly, scored goals, played people in, was the link man, was everything that we know that Olivier Giroud is. This season, with the new signings and the way we're playing, pretty much aimed at 4-2-3-1 formation or 4-3-3, just the one striker. And at the moment, because we're trying to play quick with a lot of movement and obviously getting people in behind, it doesn't suit the way that Olivier Giroud plays. So you've hardly seen him involved. If we were playing a slower build-up game where you're looking at the wide players in the midfield to play up to him and play off of him, then you would, or off of a target man up front, you would put him ahead of Tammy Abraham because he does that job. Tammy is much more mobile, so is Timo. They're both on good goal scoring form. Olivier Giroud has not had a look in at all, and it could be faced with the fact that Didier Deschamps is then coming out again this week and saying that he needs to be playing football if he wants to be selected in the Euros at the end of this season. Same thing we heard during the January window last season, and I guess you just have to wait and see what's going to happen. Will he force his way out? Will he be patient and hope that he gets involved towards the end of the season? The problem is, if we settle on the 4-3-3, which is what I hope we do, you can't see him in that team because you just can't see him in it because of the way we play and being mobile and being quick. So you could see Olivier Giroud leave the club in January. I hope not. I hope things turn around for him and somehow we can accommodate Giroud and the strengths that he gives us by implementing him into the team, and we could still winning games, but it's becoming more and more unlikely. That's because of the impact of Werner and obviously with Tammy as second fiddle. So for me, Giroud hardly featured. Got to be a 5. So finally, it's Callum HudsonOdoi, and Callum HudsonOdoi is somebody that needs to do more for me on a more consistent basis in games. And when I say that, what I'm saying is that for longer periods in games, have more of an influence. We've seen glimpses, examples of what he's capable of the last couple of seasons. We've seen this season, West Brom away, what he's capable of, getting involved, scoring, assisting. He's got it in his locker. He just needs to be sort of much more of an influence. And if anything, there's times when he gets the ball and you want him to go and drive towards that byline, get the cross in, or drive towards the byline, stop, hold it up and get the cross in, rather than keep coming across onto his right foot all the time or looking to play the ball sideways or backwards. I know it's important that we hold on to possession if there is no option for him, and I do understand that majority of the time if there isn't, he's going to play safe. I just want to see Callum HudsonOdoi use the God-given talent that he's been blessed with more and for longer periods in games and become a real influence. Look at Hakim Ziyech. Obviously there's an age gap. Ziyech has been playing at this particular level for a few seasons and he's much more exposed to it. Callum will learn that over time and will become more of an influence, but it's just at the moment it just needs to be to just go with his instincts, take people on, use his pace and his skill. He's quite a strong lad as well, use a bit of his power, but just have that influence for longer periods and make it like a telling influence. Try and get those crosses into the box, try and look to play those balls in behind. We've seen he can do it, just needs to do it a bit more. But he's been good this season when he's been involved. He has had end product, which is promising, very promising. So for me, I would say Callum HudsonOdoi at this stage is a 7. What do you think? So guys, that's it from me for our forwards for this season. And remember, it's based on the season so far, from the very first game to now. So if people are not involved, you can't really mark them. If they've not been involved that much, the scores replicate the impact they've had. And this is what it's all about. Let me know what you think about the ratings for the forwards in the comments section below. Smash that like button for me, then subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss my videos come out, which will be tomorrow, same time. So join me then. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. See you all tomorrow.